You went up to Japan and you hooked up with this researcher who studies chimpanzees. And there's this huge natural habitat where the chimpanzees come in on their own.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That
so cool.
is crazy. So it's like this huge
open kind of
encampment.
Yeah. So I went knowing that other people had talked about his research. Obviously, it's been published for, more than a decade. But I didn't know as much about how he runs the experiment. It's not like, all right, get the tasers out and wrangle the chimps into the rooms. They've got these treetop laboratories. So to the chimp, it feels like they're just foraging. And instead of reaching out and grabbing a berry and eating it, they reach out and they touch numerals in order, and then they get the same type of food they would normally forage, same amount. And then that's all calculated so that the meals that they're given by the keepers all add up to the right amount of food in a day.
So they get their whole day's food from these experiments?
No, they don't.
Oh.
They don't even have to go and do the experiment if they don't want to.
Right.
If they don't, then they'll just be fed a little bit more later.
Right.
But there's even facial recognition cameras that can tell which chimpanzee has walked in.
Wow.
So they know what difficulty to give. They
Oh,
know
wow.
who's eating the food
Huh.
so they don't get overfed.
Right.
And it's just wonderful. Now, that also made it hard to film because you can't just be like, all right, bring in the chimps. They're like, we have to wait, and we don't know who's going to come. It could be one of the geniuses that's going to be amazing, or it could be one of the dumbos.
It was really well shot, that episode.
Thank you. I did
yeah,
none of
it
the
was-
shooting.
It was fantastic.
But how
But
did
just-
you guys coordinate it because it was in Japan? Do you fly with a crew?
Yeah,
or-
we flew with a smaller crew, and then we had people there in Japan, fixers and locals who could help us, navigate faster.
How did you even set up with this guy? I was curious.
You know what really helped is seasons 1 and 2.
Oh.
We can say, look, we're really interested. We reach out to like Kyoto University's, press group, and we say, hey, this is the show. And they watch and they go, oh, yeah, this is like not sensationalizing. They're really honestly kind of like promoting what's happening, and please come out.
Well, the experiment was about memory.
Yeah.
And so these chimpanzees was mind-blowing. They have almost what seems to be, at least some of them, have like a picture-perfect memory where all these numbers will flash quickly on the screen and all these different grids, and the monkeys can do it all, or the chimpanzees can do it all, and remember it immediately.
Yeah.
Whereas you competed at one point against one of these chimpanzees, and I mean, obviously you didn't have to know, but like we are just on such a lower level in terms of memory.
Yeah, our memory is so much less photographic. Now, I was at a huge disadvantage in that I'd never done it before.
Right.
Sure.
If I did it every single day for years,
you would
I
get
would
better.
get really good. But they found that a human just cannot reach the same average ability that a chimpanzee can. We just need a little bit longer. I think we're thinking about it a little bit too much. The chimpanzee is just going, I need to react to what's given to me, whereas we're going, shapes and thoughts. And primarily, though, they found that it could be language. That theory, that the fact that we can talk, that we have language is what makes our memories so bad, is controversial in some circles. But I don't need to have a perfectly photographic memory if I can tell stories to remember things.
Right.
If you ask me, what did you have for lunch? I don't have to go pick the picture out. I can go, well, let's see. It's Jake's birthday. He likes we had Taco Bell. And we had a pineapple cake because he loves pineapples, but it was banana flavored. And I'm telling a story. Even if I didn't have language, even if I didn't speak, my brain might still remember in that sort of way, not with English words, but with grammar. Whereas the chimpanzee is just in that moment now. So this is the theory of the cognitive trade-off, that in
Yeah, it makes
order
sense.
to develop language, we traded off memory.
I mean, there's only so much space in your brain for stuff. But what I thought about is, I don't know if you've seen this. There's this very, very rare condition called superior autobiographical memory. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
This is so. I watched this 60 Minutes report. There's only 10 people so far in the world discovered with this ability, and they have this ability to recall any moment, any day, every single thing that's happened in their life with perfect recall.
Now, I've heard of it, but I don't know enough about it, so I'm a little skeptical.
I have a
How
clip
do we
here.
verify?
Here, well, let me show you a clip.
Okay.
They do all kinds of
10
tests.
people in the world
So this was a
who've
60
been-
Minutes report.
They remember exactly like on a certain date, what day of the week it was,
Right.
how old they were, what they
They
were
were
doing.
doing, like if a current event happened.
As
Well, here,
detailed as you want.
let me show you.
tested and proved to have superior autobiographical memory,
October 1st, 8th.
total recall of every day of their lives.
Extremely impressive.
Delta Airline Flight 191 crashes near Dallas, Texas.
Oh, I know exactly when that happened because it was August the 2nd of 1985. It was a Friday.
Such a gift has never been documented before, and scientists like Professor James McGaw are excited about where it may lead.
One of them said it's like a Google search, that you put it in and it just sort of, and there it is. And it's the year, and it's the month, and it's the day, and it sort of narrows in, and it goes bang, and they've got it. And this all happens very quickly. It just...
Actually, I have another timestamp where they're conducting some kind of experiment.
This is kind of blowing my mind. One of my best
One that
friends
Mary Lou is
has this.
For real?
Really?
I mean, I didn't know what it was called, but yeah, he has like this ridiculous ability to recall like down to the hour of the day events
So
throughout his life.
they want to get in touch with these
Yeah.
researchers because they've only found 10 people in the world.
Really?
Yeah.
That's genuinely blowing my mind because my buddy, I've known him for years, and we always just chalked him up to being kind of a weirdo for having this ability. But yeah, that's actually kind of crazy.
Here, I'm
Real to
hoping this is
have.
the right timestamp.
For others, though, like Jill Price, who was the first person to be diagnosed with this remarkable condition, it's a burden. Is it driving you crazy on the inside?
Yeah, sometimes it does. Yeah. I mean, I really just want to be screaming at the top of my lungs most of the time, and I can't do that. So I have to keep everything in check.
When did you realise you had this ability?
About 5 weeks after I turned 14, and I don't really know why on this day exactly, February 5th, 1980. But from that day until now, it's every day. And so, you know, you pull a date out, boom, it's like I'm right there.
Every moment of every day.
Every
I have nothing to
So
add.
crazy.
Oh, yeah. I want to show, there's just one part I want to show you where they say specific days.
Got it, yeah.
That's very
every
compelling.
day, yeah.
Don't believe it? Well, let's do a test.
There you go, haters.
Go and throttle up.
January 28th,
Challenger
1986.
disaster.
Tuesday, January 28th, 1980.
Someone needs to
Well,
look at your
I was
beautiful
5
brain.
days old. That anniversary is
What
actually
day of the
coming
week
up.
was it?
Well, she just said it was a Wednesday.
You were 5
did?
days old.
Oh.
I was 5 days old, and
Probably not remembering anything.
Maybe it was a Tuesday, but it's also my grandmother's birthday, the 28th of January.
Oh. So there's a lot intersecting there.
A lot of reasons why I would remember the Challenger disaster date.
I guess it's a lot of...
6. And the Super Bowl was the Sunday before.
John Lennon's assassination.
That was December 8th, 1980.
Do you remember what day of the week it was?
Monday. I was in 10th grade.
It blows my mind that you can remember that.
That crash killed 274 people.
The Chicago plane crash.
The one in May 25th, 1979.
That is the one.
Yeah, I was in the 8th grade. I had just come back that week from having the chicken pox.
Remembering historical events is one thing, but this goes a whole lot further.
Well, May 8th, my grandmother had...
Imagine having instant recall of what you ate for breakfast exactly 20 years ago today. What if I flip it around? I don't give you an event, but a date. The 28th of February, 97.
That was a Friday, and I was leaving that day to go up to San Francisco, but we sort of got sidetracked by a bank robbery in North Hollywood.
She's right.
For an hour, North Hollywood was a
So there you
war
have
zone.
it. So there seems to be some people that have both brains
Yeah, and
coinciding.
both. It's. I don't know a lot about it, but you can see how important it would be to learn. Like, first of all, like knowing the dates of like John Lennon's assassination and plane crashes. There are plenty of people who know all of those. But imagine being burdened in that
Yeah.
way by every detail being there. It almost makes you feel less bad about how the past and your memories keep fading away.
Right.
You only live in this
Yeah.
kind of clear
But
bubble of
I wonder if that's some kind of defense mechanism, you know, because it is like this one lady that they interviewed in this was like, I love having this ability.
right.
Because you can imagine the utility of that is insane. I mean,
Yeah.
you'd be able to excel at anything like way more to have
Yeah.
that level of
Yeah.
memory. But this lady says that it's a
I could see it
very
being
difficult.
both.
Yeah, I can see it being both.
And I don't know what they've found since. What's going on?
Yeah.
What are the limits of this, and what
Yeah.
might be the cause, and what are some of the bad side effects?
Yeah.
But you can also see how difficult psychology is.
Hmm.
If you want to do physics and you want to talk about like the mass of a proton, they all have the same mass.
Mm-hmm.
But memory, all of our memories are different. When you think of being 5, what is it like? Do you see through your eyes? Do you see yourself from outside? It's like,
Right.
what is it? What's the fidelity of it? Is it like 4K? Is it like 1080? We still don't really know. And everyone might be so different. It might be really hard to pin it down. Mathematics and physics, it's kind of like, look, the speed of light is what it is. We've literally defined it to be something. But what is happiness?
Yeah. I would like to get her in there to challenge that chimpanzee. Do you think she would win? Because that is maybe a different skill.
It's a different one though, because
That's a very different one.
I think she would win.
She's got this.
We got to
woman
get
here,
her out there to Japan.
She has amazing episodic memory. She remembers episodes from her life. She doesn't have that photographic, like instant memory
think
from
so?
a scene.
We gotta
but
get
there
her
are people who
engaged.
do. There are people who can look at
Yeah.
a deck of cards all laid out and then it's called an eidetic memory because it's not quite like a photograph. If you show them 52 cards laid out in order and then you tell them like what card was in the corner, which one was here, they'll know. But if you tell them which card had a tiny black dot somewhere, they won't remember if they didn't commit that to memory. It's not like they are pulling up a photo they took
Right.
and they can look for details that they didn't see or attend to at first. So it's not quite a photographic memory. They call it eidetic now.
So, I mean, what was your kind of takeaway from that whole experience in Japan? I mean, how long were you there? How long did it take to shoot that?
We were there. We were there for like 2 weeks because we also did the episode on recording your dreams. That was done in a different part of Japan, but it was all underneath Kyoto University.
Right.
And so we were at the Primate Research Institute for like 4 or 5 days, and every morning we had to get there for like the Chimps breakfast because that's when the 2 really famous ones might come in.
Right.
And we had to do like 4 mornings just to capture like, oh my gosh, I has come.
What time are we talking about?
I think it was like, 7:30 a.m.
Okay.
But you're already so jet lagged. You're not like, it's not early.
Right.
We were on a very early to get up and early to go to bed schedule.
Now, were these superstar chimps, was it the result of just like good genetics, or were these the monkeys, the chimps that were there practicing all the time?
Well, they have trained for a long time. Because imagine, like, they don't just come out of the trees and go, oh, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
They have to learn what numerals are. They have to learn how a touch screen works. It takes a long time. So, but there's nothing special about them otherwise. It's not like we found some chimps that can do this.
Well, there's a varying level of intelligence among humans. I wonder how's that variance among chimpanzees.
I'm sure.
as well.
And there's also a variation by age. As they get older, there's cognitive decline. And
Right.
so I, who was born in the 70s, she's now getting slower. And that's who I went up against. So I had a bit of an advantage. But it's not that these chimpanzees were like, way above norm. They're what a chimpanzee can do, and we used to be able to do. The theory, the hypothesis, is that as we split from chimpanzees through evolution, we needed language to survive. We didn't have the safety of the trees. We needed to be able to say, you watch out while I get those scavenged remains. And you have to trust that I will give some to you. I'm near it. You're having to do lookout, or you're having to do something else. But we have to communicate because we can't just be safe in the trees and grab berries all day.
Right.
But you can't develop language. Like, you can't just go, all right, guys, let's just build a new lobe on our brain. Instead, you have to take the cells and the structures that are already there and sacrifice some of them to, you're doing language now.
Right.
And the hypothesis is that we gave away some of that eidetic memory, some of that short-term
Right.
memory ability.
A good trade-off, evolutionarily, probably, eh?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. But I don't want to judge. I
But
mean,
who knows?
It doesn't mean that like we're better than chimps. It just means we're different. We were forced to be different to still be here today.